So today we're going to dive into the absolutely incredible story of a legendary book. A book so perfect, people literally called it a crown. But its story? Well, it's one of impossible survival, unbelievable dedication, and a wound that honestly can never really be healed. This is the story of the Aleppo Codex.
And that right there is the central mystery we're exploring. I mean, just imagine, a masterpiece, the absolute gold standard for one of the world's most important texts, but with a huge piece of its heart just gone. How in the world did that happen? And what does it mean for us today?
And this is the scale of the loss we're talking about. Almost half of this irreplaceable manuscript vanished in the 20th century. That's something like 200 pages of priceless history just lost forever. This number right here, it sets the stage for one heck of a dramatic story. So let's start with its identity. It's a masterpiece, for sure, but a flawed one. We're going to explore what makes the Codex so revered and how it earned that name, the Crown, even with this deep, deep scar. Okay, and you really can't overstate this. For centuries, the Aleppo Codex was the benchmark. I'm not just talking about some old book. No, this was the most precise, the most trusted version of the Hebrew Bible in existence. Its authority was, and in a lot of ways still is, totally unparalleled. So where did this legendary book even come from?
To really get why this book is so authoritative, we have to go back to the very beginning. So let's take a journey over 1,000 years into the past and meet the brilliant minds who actually crafted this masterpiece.
The people who made this were called the Masoretes. You can think of them as the guardians of the text. They were this community of scholars in Tiberias, Israel, and their entire life's work was making sure that every single letter, every single sound of the Hebrew Scriptures was preserved with perfect accuracy for all the generations to come.
Now this is where it gets really cool, because this shows how they did it. You see, ancient Hebrew was written without any vowels. So the Masoretes, they invented this whole system of dots and dashes to add vowels, making sure everyone pronounced it right. They also added little signs for chanting, and they packed the margins with notes to clarify what everything meant. This was basically a technological revolution in preserving a text.
In the physical book itself, it's a work of art. It's written on parchment that's dried animal skin with a special ink that was made to last forever. Every single page is laid out in 3 absolutely perfect columns. This wasn't just writing, this was an act of pure devotion and just incredible craftsmanship. Okay, so now we know we're dealing with a true masterpiece. Let's trace its dangerous journey through history. And believe me, this is where the story takes a really dramatic turn. And this timeline just lays out its 1,000-year journey so clearly. It starts out in Tiberias, and then it spends centuries as the most treasured possession of the Jewish community in Aleppo, Syria. But then, 1947, a year of violence, a year of fire, the synagogue was attacked, the Codex was damaged, and then, a decade later, it had to be smuggled to safety in Israel.
And here it is. This is the tragic heart of the whole story. During those riots in 1947, those 200 pages, almost 40% of the entire book, they just disappeared. This includes most of the Torah, the first 5 books. The Crown of Aleppo survived for a millennium, only to be broken in our own modern era.
So what happens when your most authoritative source is suddenly incomplete? This created a huge challenge for scholars, a massive problem, and it led them to rely on the Codex's closest relative. So let's look at the 2 key players here. The Aleppo Codex is the original authority, considered the absolute pinnacle of accuracy. Why? Well, it's believed that Aaron ben Asher, the last great master of the Masoretes, personally proofread it, but it's tragically incomplete. Its sibling, the Leningrad Codex, is from the same time period, and it's also incredibly accurate. But, and this is the key, it's fully complete. It was copied from the same kind of manuscripts, making it an amazing stand-in, but the Aleppo Codex is the master copy.
So here's the bottom line. To reconstruct the missing parts of the Aleppo Codex tradition, scholars have to turn to the Leningrad Codex. It's kind of like having the master blueprint, personally signed by the architect, but with a huge chunk of it torn out. So what do? You find a flawless, certified copy made at the exact same time to fill in the blanks. It's really the best possible solution to a heartbreaking problem.
Even with all those missing pages, the Aleppo Codex is still profoundly important. So let's take a look at its incredible enduring legacy today.
Just look at this list. These aren't some minor publications. We're talking about major academic and religious editions of the Hebrew Bible, and all of them are based on the surviving pages of the Aleppo Codex. Its authority for the pages that we still have is still the absolute gold standard.
And this is the part that connects this ancient story right to our own bookshelves. The Masoretic texts, that tradition perfected by the scribes, which the Aleppo Codex represents better than anything, it isn't just a source, it's the foundational text that basically stabilized the Hebrew Bible. It put an end to centuries of little variations and locked in the text. And that means the chapter divisions, the specific words, even the spelling, and almost every English Old Testament you've ever picked up, it descends directly from this painstaking work. The care of those ancient scribes literally shaped the words we know today.
So after its long, dangerous, 1,000-year journey, the Codex has finally found a safe home. The pages that survived the fire, that survived the smuggling, are now protected as a world treasure in Jerusalem. It's a powerful testament to both human dedication and, sadly, human destruction.
So we're left with this thought. The Aleppo Codex is this powerful reminder that ancient objects aren't just things. They're survivors, and they have these incredible stories. It really makes you wonder, right? How many other silent histories are just waiting to be told in the artifacts that are all around us?